I'm Snow. This is Chester.
Hello.
Um, so today we are going to be talking about mainly episodes 11 through 15. But we're also going to be touching up on the last bit of episode 10 because in our last podcast, the very final, we didn't actually talk about it. We kind of ended I'd say like less than 10 minutes before the final scene of episode 10, just because that was where the climax of the following episodes is, and it just would make sense to explain it today. um what's recently happened is that Sid, the shadow, I don't remember what it's called. Chester, what is it called? Shadow thing.
What do you mean?
What's his name? Like Shadow,
Sid?
yeah, Shadow, like what's his like evil name?
Shadow.
Okay, okay. I'm just overthinking it, guys. My bad. So Shadow has made a couple of appearances throughout the scenes. And then also nobody knows except for a handful who is Sid still. It's still a whole mystery. They're still going about their plans, and Sid's just kind of doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Pretty much.
One thing I do want to do just before we start talking about the particular episode, I do want to give out a shout out to High School of the Dead anime, just because it's probably not the best anime to talk about on the podcast, so we probably won't do it. But it's a very interesting anime. Okay,
What are you talking about?
moral.
It's like borderline hentai. Of course, it's going to be completely appropriate to talk about on the podcast.
Okay.
That's
Um.
sarcasm, by the way.
All right. So that one, I don't
Especially
know.
when
I was
especially when that
skeptical.
one sniper shot goes straight through that one chick's boobs while they wiggle.
Yeah, but then yeah, yeah. Anyway,
You all know what
that
I
one
mean.
is actually really fun to watch. It's pretty good for a zombie high school thing. It's actually pretty entertaining. I was actually like, it is the typical high school zombie scenes like thing, but it's not at the same time. So I don't know.
Like
I
I
thought it
said,
was a fun little thing to watch on the side.
borderline hentai.
Okay. Anyway, episode 10. Sorry, I will revert back.
Snow.
I
It
just wanted to give
awakened
a shout.
feelings in Snow that she didn't know she had.
Okay, what the fuck? So where we
Go
left off is
ahead.
that Sid and Rose, I believe her name is Rose. Yes, Rose. Okay, so Sid and Princess Rose ran into hold on, I'm trying to remember names.
I forgot it was
Uh,
Rose, the blonde, because she's blonde. Yeah, you're right there.
what's the else name? The book one.
Um,
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
crap. What was her name?
Oh,
La, 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 la.
Beta. Beta, sorry. Sorry guys, I was trying to
Yeah,
find it.
yeah. But
So,
I know it's Beta, but what was her name? What did they call her?
dude, I had a hard enough time remembering it was Beta.
Okay, good
Anyway,
enough.
so Sid and Princess Rose go through the town that they just entered from the train. And what happens at the very final of episode 12 or 10, pardon me, my brain's freaking fried. Um Sid notices Beta is selling books, and then all the books that she's selling are very, very like typical stories that he's told her, right? And they're very original. She, pardon me, has barely changed any of them. So he's like, ah, how original. And she's making lots of money of it on it. So Beta signs Sid a book. And then she gives him a message in this ancient lettering, or whatever, like this ancient language that no longer really known. With that in mind, they also kind of do a flashback of Sid telling Beta stories when they were kids. Rose and Sid are just having a chat, and then Rose notices that Beta signed his book in weird letters, right? And she's like, "Oh, why would she do that?" And then Sid's like, essentially, like, "I don't know, I don't care." right? So elsewhere, um,
By the way, her
is it called a
public name,
palace?
I don't think it's a palace, but her author name is Natsume.
Okay,
I looked it up. Yeah, I had to look it up.
fair enough.
Um, yeah, go
I
on.
think it would be easier if we just refer to Beta though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Um, so elsewhere, I think in the palace, I believe it's called the palace. Sorry if I'm incorrect. Alpha is in a scene. She's looking out the window outside the palace, and then they switch the scene with a man killed, and there's blood everywhere.
Church. It's a church. It's a church.
She
I just
church.
sorry. Yeah, I
No,
I know
you're
which
good.
part you're
I
talking about.
genuinely do not remember. And then Beta is walking out. Sid then starts talking about his evil thoughts, like his evil plans of how he's a background character, how he's plotting this, and like I don't know, very menace like. He meets up with the girls. Um, sorry, girls is a wrong accurate. Who was the one that he met? Oh, Ellipsion, Ellipsion,
Epsilon.
Epsilon. Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
he meets up with Epsilon. Sorry, my brain shorted out. And then he makes a comment that it's gonna be necessary later about how she thinks how highly of herself because he can tell this by how much tar or slime, sorry, how much slime she puts on herself, right? Because their suits are literally made out of slime, guys. And the slime is like an ancient kind of slime where it's kind of no longer used or heard of, but
It's
Sid was
just like
able to.
magical slime. I think it is.
Yeah. So Epsilon has like a whole bunch, definitely in the breast area where it's like boing, boing, boing.
She's flat.
And then she's trying to flirt with Sid, and there's like a whole thing where Beta and Epsilon are like trying to figure out who Sid likes better, but he truly could care less, like genuinely could care less. Um, and then it just kind of cuts back on how the tournament um, of them resurrecting the past heroes will begin. They didn't show this; they just like said it. So,
Yeah, it
episode
was a lot of
11.
exposition. Yeah, it was exposition on that. Episode 11. So, if you haven't noticed, Snow's doing evens, I'm doing odds. So 11, which is titled "The Goddess's Trial." So on this one, Sid visits a hot spring. It actually starts off with him visiting a hot spring. And carrying that Princess Alexia is already in there completely nude, as you would in a hot spring. Because if you guys didn't know, if you go into a hot spring, you are supposed to go in there completely nude. Because it's a bath. Anyways,
Okay. I don't know what's with you in baths, but continue.
that's what a hot spring is. Have you never really?
Okay, no, but you just had anyway.
I'm saying this so that anybody that didn't know is informed, such as
Dude, I'm tired as
yourself.
fuck. I'm trying to be so polite, man. Just go.
That's not an excuse. Anyway,
That's a little bit
hiding.
why.
Yeah,
Sorry.
see how I start and then she just cuts me out. It's just she says one thing and she does another thing. Anyways, while she is hiding her embarrassment, Alexia explains that the goddess trial involves challengers dueling the spirits of famous warriors. So
I
basically,
do want to
if
say she kind of likes it too, though, that he's in the hot spring.
yeah, probably yeah. Anyways, basically by they would they duel the famous warriors, the spirits of the famous warriors. If the challenger is strong enough, then those spirits deem them worthy enough to fight them, and they will appear and then fight. Um, she says that she's busy with the Archbishop's murder and asks Sid to assist by joining the Crimson Knights. Sid refuses her before nonchalantly leaving, fully exposing himself. And I mean, like, fully, completely exposing himself. I don't know why he does it,
No,
but
I do. Let
okay,
me
go
explain
ahead.
it. Sorry, is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So the reason why he does it is because Sid made a comment because he said like she's like, "Oh, why haven't you like checked on like looked at me or whatever," right? Like Sid completely did not check her like Alexia out at all during that bath. Right? So he was like just
Oh
staring
yeah,
off and then Alexia was
that's
just checking him
true.
out. And then Alexia made some sort of comment, I don't remember exactly what it was, about like how scrawny he was. Because he was a pretty scrawny dude, but for his size, he's like really freaking built. Right? So then that's why he exposed, because she's like, well, he's like, I could care less about boobs and all that. But obviously, you seem to be checking me out or whatever, right? And he's like, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. And then gets up and then completely exposes himself. And she's just fucking shocked, right? To the point
Yeah,
where it's like he does this towel.
she doesn't do the mannerly thing of like avoiding it, but like looking. She just like well, she looks down. I remember now that yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So then he has this towel after he reveals, he turns around and then there's that booty shot, but then he has a towel and he whips it in between his legs and then it covers his butt. Okay. And it makes this like clap noise, okay?
I
And
mean, if you've
then
ever snapped a
so
towel, you know what exactly what it sounds like. It just goes.
yeah, it's really the reason why I'm bringing it. It's kind of funny, actually. It's pretty funny. And then
It actually
so
is.
he leaves and goes check it out, and then all of a sudden it switches the scenes to what Chester's going to talk about, and she's holding the towel before it happens, and then all you hear is as the scene switches the same exact noise. And then whenever Alexia is in like the bath now, right throughout this episodes 11 to 15 or whatever, you hear that towel
You
noise
do.
every
It's true.
single damn time, and it's
It's
so
true.
fucking funny. Okay, sorry. It's
No,
something
you're
that we
good.
100% would have missed, and I just thought it was like, guys, it's literally they don't even show her actually doing it. It literally it shows her leaving the bath and then switching to a different scene, right? Like maybe like buildings or whatever, ready for next scene, and all you hear is that like clap noise or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so I do want to say that I know exactly what the clap noise is. It's not a towel snapping. It's something completely different. However, they do change the noise to make it a towel snapping every single time. But it's not a towel slap. It's called the deer scare. But anyway,
What's a
completely different
deer
thing.
scare?
It's called a deer scare. Yeah.
What is it?
So it's basically if you ever well it's in a lot of anime, but basically it's a hollowed out it's a bamboo stick where it'll slowly start filling up with water and it'll tip over, and when it tips over it obviously
Oh,
empties
makes that
itself.
noise.
Yeah, and then when it snaps back down it will make the clunk, but in this case
That's not fun.
they changed the clunk to a snap of the towel. So yeah,
That's clever. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay,
But basically, it's called a deer scare.
interesting.
Um, right. So there's a little bit of a Japanese trivia here for you guys. So, anyways, back to the whole thing. Yes, that's why he did it, and that's what happens. Anyway, the princess's investigation is then cancelled by temporary Archbishop Nelson, who just so happens to be um, Alexia's prime suspect in the murder of the old Archbishop, whose name used to be Drake. It honestly doesn't matter what his name was; he's dead. Sorry about that. Princess Alexia then encounters Beta in her Natsume persona, and both take an instant dislike to each other, mainly because they both have boobs. They're both somewhat interested in Sid. Although Alexia,
Also, Beta's wearing like a really booby top. Like it's major booby, and then
well,
Alexia's like, ah,
let's be honest, any top that she wears is booby.
no, 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 no. But like that top in particular was extra booby, boobylicious.
Yeah,
Anyway, sorry.
there was like a cleavage window there, and they're completely using that to the advantage. Anyways,
Hmm?
yes, no, that's right. Ever since High School of the Dead, she looks at boobs now. She is completely interested in
Yeah,
them.
I just felt the drool come down your mouth of you explaining the booby shot. Okay, just shut up, man. Just continue.
Anyway, she's wearing this really booby top. Many fighters are then humiliated when no famous warriors manifest to duel them, implying that they're not worthy opponents, meaning that they are completely weak. Sid is suddenly announced as the next challenger, his entry fee having been secretly paid by Rose to show her father Sid's potential. Because if you guys didn't know and you guys didn't pick up on this and you guys haven't watched the previous episodes, because they dueled and he took such a beating from her, she became very interested in him. And she is wanting to marry him. She hasn't said anything of this out loud, but she has been telling herself that. Um, Something that I did really want to mention is the amazingly hilarious name usage that this anime has, because one of the contestants' names is Nit, Nit, with the last name Gonna Happen. And then another one is Not This Time. So Not, and then the last name is This Time, one word. And no surprise, nothing happened, and not that time, nothing happened. The names become just even better as time goes on. Anyways, to avoid exposing his own strength or embarrassing himself by faking a humiliating defeat, Sid ends up crashing the trial as Shadow. His presence ends up summoning Aurora, the Calamity Witch, who, according to the Archbishop Nelson, was the strongest witch in history. This is all of history. By the way, I should mention his actual strength and his presence itself was able to actually manifest that specific spirit, and this brings to light that the archbishop was the one controlling whether or not the spirits, quote unquote, came out to challenge whoever the challenger was. So it was up to him completely, and it was all, I guess, an illusion whether or not they did come out to challenge beforehand. But Sid being there as Shadow actually launched whatever happened or whatever they were trying to fake. It brought out a real magic circle or real summoning circle, and it actually summoned Aurora. Um,
And also, sorry, I just want to point out the Aurora is one of the strongest, deadliest evil witches that was on the planet. And then also the reason why when Sid entered this circle as quote shadow, like in disguise, that is due to the fact that the circle puts up an opponent that is closest to your level, right? Your magical level or whatever, right? Like,
yeah,
for
good call.
example, someone super, super weak will not get a super strong character. They'll get someone that's like an ancient warrior, but not nearly as strong. So,
True.
sorry, I just wanted to point that out before
No, no, you're good.
yeah, that's how that happened. And then also, um, one thing that was missed is that there is a sneak shot of Beta meeting with the other subordinates, like the other girls, um, about a plan that isn't quite revealed to us currently at that
Yeah,
exact
but I
moment.
mean that was so minute and so. I mean, we don't
But
really find out what's
it
going on
adds
until
though,
later.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
like
I mean, I
just
didn't think it.
making a note of it though.
Yeah, but see,
That's
that's
why.
the thing. I didn't think it would be important enough to actually put into the notes for this episode. But yeah, it's a good catch. It's a nice obscure thing that happened, but it's a good catch.
Sorry,
Um,
I just wanted to add that before you talk about the battle.
no, you're good. The only thing that I have for the battle, honestly, this entire anime is best if you actually go watch it because the battle scenes are just so gorgeously done. Um, so I'm not gonna ruin any of that. Just so the only
I
thing that I will say is that you guys should definitely just go watch the anime. The battle scenes are just gorgeous, and they're really, really nicely done.
I will
Go.
say one particular thing about the battle scene. Um, Sid is definitely one that loves communicating through battle, right?
I think they just barely came. Like they popped that up just
Well, no, no, no,
on
no.
this.
They
No,
made a
yeah,
point
yeah.
of it on this one.
They did, but it was so. I don't know. It's something that comes up on damn near any fighting anime.
But I
The
don't
main
think they've
character.
really pointed it out though. That's why,
Well, that's because
right?
on the
Like,
previous animes they didn't really care to mention that. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
especially like. But yeah,
And the
any
witch was
yeah,
that. Like, so Sid was attacking and asking the question, like, which through the battle, like swordplay questions, but the witch was never answering any of them, right? So she was just like a mystery to Sid. Sorry, I just wanted to leave that.
all right. Anyway, uh, towards the tail end, Sid ends up defeating Aurora, but is disappointed that the duel was too easy, like way too easy. So he ends up just leaving. He flies away. The arena barrier suddenly collapses, and a new summoning spell is activated in response to Sid's actions, impressing the observing Shadow Garden. Um, so a huge circle just ends up spreading from there. Um, from there, a door comes out, and the minute that he leaves, it disappears, and it just keeps following. The circle just keeps following Sid to wherever he goes, and that's where we end up on the at the end of the episode.
Hmm.
So
Um,
episode 12, which is called "The Truth Within the Memories." Go ahead.
so at the beginning of it, you get kind of like a peek of a red aura from the dome. It's kind of like a huge dome of where the arena was kept. Sid is also by a lake and a whole bunch of water currently. And then wherever he goes, like for example, he's walking down the lake on these pillars because he's cool like that. And these pillars are very high, guys. They're high. And there's this summoning spell, like this door spell, I should say, like a door. It's like a passage that keeps following him. So every time Sid moves a drastic amount, um, like a kilometer or whatever it is, it will consistently. So Sid's essentially like, okay, what the hell? And then walks in. And then it flicks back to Alexia and Princess Rose, and also Beta in the background, all seeing the door, another same door, spell thing in the arena, and they're all stunned and confused. And what was the old guy's name? Baldy? Can I just call him Baldy?
His name was
Baldy.
Drake. No, sorry, Nelson. But yeah, Baldy.
Okay, so Baldy. Okay, Nelson. We both know how much I'm going to struggle with that. That's fine. So Baldy gets everyone to leave the arena, etc., and then he tells the princesses to stay away from the door. The door is activating, and then Shadow Garden shows up. Beta and a whole bunch of the girls are there. Um, Yeah. Oh, Beta and Delta mainly. Those are the two main ones that we see. Um, they end up going through the doorway in the dome, like in the saddle dome, and then they take Beta hostage, right? Boobs are out, by the way, guys.
Hostage
Boobs.
with
I have a
huge quotes.
boob shot. I have a boob shot right
Yeah, see,
on them.
ever since High School of the Dead, you've
Five
just been thinking
point
about nothing but boobs.
549 exactly is a massive boob shot, just saying. So, with that in mind, they take it hostage. Alexia and Rose are trying to figure out what they're going to do. Meanwhile, Baldy's guard pops out of nowhere, and he's like a really skilled knight, and he slices off um ellipsin epsilon's,
Epsilon.
sorry, there we go,
Yes.
epsilon's boobs, and it's like these two literal like gelatin balls drop to the ground, and then she fucking goes so fucking mad so fucking quick. The suit that's made out of mm, what
Slime.
is it called, the slime, like literally like shoots out, picks it up again, and then they go back to the way they were. And she did this so fast, and nobody saw what was happening. Like nobody saw her defeat that assassin knight that quickly. Like it was like instant death. She was pissed. So then all Shadow Garden ends up going into through the magical doorway. Um, Alexia and Rose were told to stay there. The doorway starting to close, and then Alexia and Rose, sorry, Princess Rose, slip through very last minute. With that in mind, Beta doesn't really care. She has her plan. She's starting to talk about how it's odd that what was the do you remember what the that knight's name that looks exactly like Beta or Alpha, sorry.
I
Justin, do
do.
you
Crap. What was it?
Okay, so there is this knight, one of the knights that you can summon to fight. And
The hero.
it
It
has
was the hero.
like a hero, sorry. It was a hero that has the exact same face as Alpha, the exact same one. So when they go through the door, they're kind of like in this vault, and then
Olivier.
Olivier. Okay, sorry. Um,
You should
the hero
remember this
Olivia
is literally your
looks
name.
exactly the same as Alpha. With that in mind, the Alpha is able to unlock the vaults. They see Olivier for a split second, and then they see memories at the same time.
By the way, I do want to
It
mention that throughout the entirety of like when they give some exposition of the hero and and the demon, they frame the hero and the demon both out to be men. So, them seeing
that's
the
good.
hero, yeah, them seeing the hero be a girl elf kind of changes things and starts bringing things out into the light. So, sorry, I
Hmm.
interrupted you there.
No, I thought about it, but I completely just brain shorted out.
No, you're good.
Okay, so good catch. So while that's happening, it switches scenes to huge white scene, and Sid ends up walking into this big white room with the witch chained up. She has this straight jacket on. She's like she can't move, etc. They have a casual conversation, and then she doesn't have any memories. The witch does not remember literally anything. She's like, I woke up, we had the battle, and then I lost, and we come back here. Like that's all I know. Essentially, she's just like, I just need to escape. So Sid gets her out of the straitjacket. She puts magical clothes on, and then she's like, essentially, where it's like this comment where it's like, oh, you're going to be my knight in shining armor, is what the witch made a comment about. And so it's like, okay, like, I don't care, essentially. So then they're making the objective is to make their way to the core of an area where they're at, like a building. So essentially, it's kind of like a magical building where you have completely different rooms. And the closer you get to the core, the less magic you have, if that makes sense. Right? So, like, right now, they're pretty far away from the core of the building. So, they do have some magic. But overall, to get escape, for the witch to escape, she needs to destroy the core. Meanwhile, the Alpha, Alexia, Rose, Baldy, and the other Shadow Gardens are exploring the past memories of Olivier, the hero. right? So then they're going through the facility because it's if where they are is, keep in mind they're in the same place, but not at the same time.
Yeah, for
I
some
don't.
reason it's like they're in the basement levels of the church or the temple or whatever the hell they called it.
Yeah, so like it's just like they're, so Sid and the witch and are in one area of the building, and then what's it called? Alpha and the princesses are in with the Shadow Guard are in a separate building. Okay. This is all based on memories as well. So Olivier, currently Alpha and the girls are going through Olivier's memories. And they are learning about how they were doing experiments on elves to get powers and see what who can handle what is it called, devil's blood or something like that, demon's blood,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
I
that.
think so. Devil's blood,
And
demon's
then it
blood, same
flicks
thing.
back. Yeah, so then it flicks back to Sid and the witch. There is a girl crying in front of the witch and Sid, and then it looks exactly like the witch, just a younger version of herself. Sid makes a comment where it's like, "This looks exactly like you. Could this be you?" The witch is like, "I have no idea, but tears won't fix this," to the girl. And then the memory of that particular scene just disappears and then they move on. So essentially they're destroying the connections and then she'll be free. Meanwhile, I'm just going to mention this now. Sid has his eyes, one eye closed. We do not know why at this time, but throughout the scenes going forward, he always has one singular eye closed. Okay. Um, Goes back to Alpha and the girls. They see Olivier being essentially a prisoner. She was the only one out of all the majority of the elves able to handle the demons blood or whatever in her genes, so she was the ultimate key, which is why they made her into a hero, essentially a soldier with no brain, just follows orders, no reasoning, no nothing, no heart, no, literally just go kill this person, come back. Go kill this person, come back. Literally just a robot.
So I don't. Okay,
Um,
so real quick here, I don't think it was the demon's blood that they were injecting into them. I think it was the hero's blood,
no,
but
no,
they
no,
were all
no. It was the
failures.
demon's blood from
Oh,
the demon arm. Remember? It was like demon something.
oh, that's true. Oh God, my
Yeah,
my notes are
because
all over
there's
the
no
fucking place
hero's
today.
blood. Because the hero, they called them, like they called Olivier the hero because she was able to kill a demon. Like she was able to slice a demon's arm. So that's why she's called a hero. So there's no hero's blood. It's just demon's blood. And then that's where the red pellet comes from, if that makes sense. Yeah? Okay.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this, but I still think it's the fact that they are so she sorry, Alpha is an elf, obviously, but she was the descendant of the hero Olivier, who that had cut off the demon's left arm 1,000 years beforehand. So if that's the case, then it wasn't demon's blood that they were being injected. It was some of the hero's genes, some of the hero Olivier's genes or cells or something. But anybody that was able or strong enough to take it into a metastasize it and then not die, uh, they were successes. But these girls ended up being pushed over to the limit. Sorry, the limit, and they turn into weird blobs.
Okay.
I think I don't know.
Um,
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna rewatch, and I'm gonna well, the next podcast.
so
I think I'm gonna open with that. We'll see.
that one, I'm just gonna pause for 2 seconds, guys. So currently in the facility, they are exploring and learning about the history of these young elves, aka girls as well, right? And they are currently also taking the demon blood and putting it into the girls and seeing who is able to have the genes to handle that sort of thing, right? Because it makes them powerful, etc., without turning them into a blob, like Chester said. Just gonna say that, and then we can add on to that later. So, it then switches to another scene of them on a battlefield, like Alpha and the princesses, and the other remaining Shadow Gardens, and they watch the devil. I think it's called the devil. Um, get his arm sliced off, but all
Diablos.
by Olivier.
Yeah.
Diabolus. Diabolos's arm got sliced off by Olivier. And then they use ancient sealing techniques to keep the arm, right? And then that Alpha makes a point of like that's how they make the little pills, right? To like make you stronger for a short period of time. With that in mind, they come across a part where in the memories, sorry, in the building in the memories, where the once a year there are 12 tablets, pills, whatever you want to call them, made from the arm, and only 12 are be able to be made. Alpha makes a point of that there is 12 people at the round table, or at the dark night table, or something like
The
that, something
table of
evil.
the Knights of Rounds. The table of
The
rounds.
Knights
Yeah.
of Rounds. There's only 12 of the Knights of Rounds. And how Alexia, when she got kidnapped, the guy that kidnapped her was trying to get back into the Knights of Round, right? Because he was kicked out, and there's only 12. So those 12 have access to get a particular pill once a year.
You
They
know,
also
good.
realize,
I'm
oh,
sorry. Sorry to cut you off, but we're gonna end up. I'm gonna end up rewatching this, and then we're gonna have to redo a lot of this, or make like another episode saying like we were right, we were wrong, something. I don't know. This sounds different than what I watched, but you might be right. God damn it. My
I
Okay, go
just
on. Go.
recently watched it. Like I know I'm right.
Okay. I'm just saying I'm not comfortable with all that, but okay. I
I
will
just
believe you.
watched it. Like I literally just watched it like the other day. Okay, so also, while they're still in this scene in the lab kind of thing, and they see the 12 pills only being made, they see three scientists, and in the middle, the first scientist is Baldy, the guy that they brought with them, but he has hair. So often makes a comment like, "Oh, he awfully looks familiar. Isn't that weird?" And then so it's Baldy taking a pill when he was younger, right? So he's been in this loop since he was like a young scientist. And then he gets all fucking mad, all this and that, like, ah, you don't know any, like, etc. And then it's like, I was hoping to reveal my plot earlier. And then all of a sudden, what's her name? Delta just strikes him down, and then he ends up falling off like like, I don't know, I want to say balcony, but like think of like a two-story mall, kind of like he falls off the second story, right? And then Alpha makes a comment, be like, if you kill someone, make sure they're fully dead. Because then Baldy comes up in this red suit, all hot and fucking mad, and it cuts off with um, Alpha and Delta getting put in a white room, and Delta is all, she's like a half wolf, half cat thing, ready to kill him because she's like a freaking mad man. And then there's gonna be a fight scene with Baldy. Chester,
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just okay.
would you like me to continue with episode 13, or you got it?
No, I've got 13.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay. All right.
Just checking.
Oh, But you know the blood pills, they were supposed to grant immortality, right?
Yes. Yes, that is correct. But there were also, you had to take them on a regular basis. If not, the side effects would be too great, and it wouldn't work if they were not taken on a regular basis.
Yeah,
Make sense?
pretty yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So,
All right, so
go
yeah,
for it.
that episode's just got me fucked up.
Mhm.
Uh, episode 13, also known as a bloody showdown, as an offering to annihilation. So on this one, I'm gonna try and keep my notes a little bit short. I'll say it at the end. So on this one, Epsilon reveals that she and the named shadows personally brought into Shadow Garden by Sid were all girls experimented on by the cult, by the Diablos cult. Sid cured them of that demonic or the cursed side effects, which is the huge blobs that they turn into that basically just rotted, um, leaving their strength intact once they were cured, obviously. Um, they go into the sanctuary's archive and steal the records of the cult experiments. Sid and Aurora both reach the sanctuary's core, so they actually get into the core, which means that they have absolutely no magic. Um, in the core, they
Uh,
find what? Well,
they do
just
have magic,
can you just relax? I'm getting to it.
but you said
I'm
no magic.
I
That's
said it leaves them
incorrect.
with no magic because they've been
But they
they've
do
been
have
using.
magic.
Oh, okay. They have magic, but it's very, 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 very
It's
limited.
kind of like the high school where it's like, remember when they had that magic blocking guys? It's like the high school where you can only use a very, very small percentage of magic. Essentially, here it's the same thing, but
Basically,
you'll run
cutting
out
off
quicker
all
and get more
magic.
exhausted, right? Like there's an actual exhaustion thing.
So basically, cutting off all magic.
No, because they still have it.
I said
They're
basically,
okay. They're
virtually.
still using magic, but they're more limited on it. And also Delta is just fucking insane. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, Delta is fucking insane. Um. w- Anyway, they get to
They do give her a hot get up.
they honestly, yes, 100%. Um.
Okay. Since they're covered in slime, guys, and they're getting closer, it takes magic to use slime. And since they are getting closer to the center and the core, yeah, uh, hot get ups. Sorry, continue. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. So when they reach the center, they find that there is a sword into basically a sword in the stone. Everybody knows what the sword in the stone is. But anyway, they find a sword stuck in the stone, but it's got runes on there or ancient writing. However, before they get to decipher it, we cut back to Delta and the group. So Delta ends up revealing that she possesses berserker level strength. So if you guys remember who Delta is, she's the one with the cat ears, or no, not cat. She's a wolf, wolf ears and a
Cool.
tail. So she reveals that she's got berserker level strength, which allows her to kill hundreds of the Nelson copies or the Baldy copies, even without her magic. So she just goes hog wild on him. And to be quite honest, it's really nice to see because she just lets them all have it. Um,
Can I ask one question?
yeah, what's up?
Um, did you talk about Sid and the witch on the battlefield, and then how the other girls
Well,
are
this
seeing
goes on
zombies?
after this part, Snow.
And
You gotta let me kind
no, it's no, it doesn't. It's first. It's first.
of. Okay, well, whatever. That happened in episode
Okay.
12. That happened in episode
No, it's
12.
13. Okay, look it up. I am 110%
I will show
sure.
you exactly what I see. Okay? Episode
Okay.
13. This is what
Mhm.
episode 13 starts off with. Give me a sec.
Mhm.
And granted, my notes are all over the place, but this is what I see on episode
Hmm.
13.
Mm-hmm.
Aha. There you go. I sent it to you. That is what it says on episode 13. Just for reference. While she
Okay,
reads
well,
that,
that's not actually what happens on the
w-
actual episode,
well, I
though.
did say
Like,
I was making my notes a little bit different. Because usually I have
okay.
an essay of notes.
Okay.
Jesus. Besides, when they're in the battlefield, they just end up killing it anyway. So yeah, okay. So
But that.
let's go back to the battlefield then. Before they get to the center, to the core, they get to one of the memories, which is a battlefield. So because no one is supposed to be able to see them or to even interact with them because it's a memory, they're actually very surprised when it looks like zombies. Let's just call them zombies.
Mhm.
Start attacking them. Um, ends It ends up coming to that the fact that they were able to kill all the zombies. They were able to destroy all the past memories, or all the oncoming slaughter of the zombies, um, and they end up getting away, which they
They
did
mainly
chalk
just
up.
punched the girl.
Yeah, pretty much. They punch the girl until she snaps out of it. The memory breaks and they are free. Um, it was at the tip of my tongue, and then I forgot what I was gonna say. But during this part, oh, okay, I remember. They do chalk up this entire attack that they were receiving on the fact that it might, or not the fact, the probability that this might just be a defense that the citadel, or the basement level, the laboratory, whatever the hell you want to call it, wherever they are at right now, it might just be a defense mechanism that activated to keep them from getting to the core. So once they destroy it, the memory, they just vanish and then they keep walking, thus letting them get to the core. Are you happy now?
Good job. I'm proud of you. Sorry.
This is
I
the
didn't mean to
same
be like
person that was
a.
whining that we were taking too long on starting the podcast earlier, you guys. Anyways, because it was too long and she's so tired. Now, by the way, it was her birthday recently, so happy birthday, just randomly.
Okay.
Now, anyways,
Um,
all right. So,
I want to return on this friendship.
did you save your receipt?
Give me a minute.
No returns. The core is sealed behind chains that can only be cut by a nearby magic sword, the one that we have just talked about. And although Sid tries the sword, although Sid does try to pull the sword out, that sword can only be drawn by a hero's descendant. They end up talking, and they come to the rationale that they would need to wait around for either somebody to pull out the stone or the sword from the pedestal, or that the chains will be destroyed if everything else is just destroyed. So from there, Nelson Baldy summons Olivier to fight for him, but Epsilon appears with all the cult's research, so that all the shadows abruptly teleport out of the sanctuary with Alexia and Rose, leaving the confused Nelson. As Sid is still inside the sanctuary, the Baldy orders Olivier to kill him. Originally, the Baldy was trying to negotiate with Sid so that um, he would join him, because he didn't know who this guy was. He just knew that he was able to summon the witch, and that is pretty much it. That's all he knew. He didn't know it was Shadow from the Shadow Garden. None of that. Um, they they do end up dueling, but Sid is disappointed that Olivier is mindlessly obedient, just like the witch was when he fought her, um, and that she was mute and without personality. So basically, just cold, dead fish eyes.
Mhm.
So he finds the fight boring. Aurora decides to protect him as payment for providing her first new memories in thousands of years.
They think
Sid,
he's really weak, guys. Like the Balti and the witch think he's like pathetic and weak.
oh yeah, definitely. Especially because they think that he is heavily dependent on his magic to be able to fight.
Yeah. Well, they don't even know that he can fight like that. The only one that does is the witch. The
Well, they
Balti
both
doesn't know
did.
who he actually is
True, but
until
remember, the Baldy did see Shadow fight the witch, and because of that, he thought that he was boosting himself with his magic to be that fast and that strong.
Oh, okay, good catch.
Yeah. Um. Sid is annoyed that they assume that he'll lose, claiming that he's been paying close attention and has figured out one of the sanctuary's secrets. Um, Olivier stabs Sid through the heart, but he smiles and reveals that one of his eyes has changed color. So he finally decides to open the eye that he had closed, which incidentally is the same eye that he always glows when he uses magic. Um, Making me personally think that when he builds up or he stores magic, he just kind of moves it instinctively to that one eye so that he can use it for later time. In this case, like this. And earlier before, I think it was episode
What do you mean?
three.
He didn't use his eye on episode
No,
13?
no, no. I'm saying he builds
Oh,
up and
like okay,
stores. Yeah,
got it. Sorry, I misunderstood.
you're good.
I was
Um,
confused.
so we are left on the fact that he opens his eye, that eyes change color, and we move on to episode 14.
Mhm. So episode 14 is dramatic. It kind of does like a small little recap of like them talking, and then it's like, I got it, it's fine, don't worry about it. Essentially, do whatever. Olivier, pardon me, comes out of nowhere and just stabs Sid in the gut. And then Sid is smiling, wraps her around him, where it's essentially like he's hugging her, but like her back is to his chest, as he has a knife through his body now, but he doesn't care, and bites her like a fucking vampire and rips out her neck arteries. Olivier they then disappears. I think I explained that pretty well. How about you?
Really? That's all you're gonna say on it?
Well, for that first
No.
like 2-second thing.
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
so
Good enough.
continuing on that, like for the opening of that episode.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
All right, so and then Olivier disappears. Baldy is fucking flabbergasted. Like he's like, and okay, sorry. And Sid's like, this is pathetic. He throws his sword away, and then he's like, ah. And then the witch is just like stunned. She's like, what the fuck? Right? And then he explains, he's like, oh, it's very easy just to move a couple organs around when you use minor, like threads of magic, which we saw him do in the high school, with his heartbeat when he faked his death. So that's how he is perfectly fine with the hole through his literally chest or whatever that goes straight through. Just because he moved his organs around. They then have a
Well, I mean, he was
thing
close to the
where
heart,
Baldy's
but
like,
yeah, he did say that he moved his heart to the right.
well, yeah, it wasn't his heart this time though. It was just his chest. Like it was just his belly. Like he moved his vital organs and that out of the way.
Dude, you just said his chest. What's in your chest, Snow?
Okay, no, no, no. I said he faked his death with the heartbeat in the high school thing. He didn't do
Okay.
it this time. He just moved his organs around this time.
All right. All right.
But fair enough. Okay, so Baldy's like, no way, you're this powerful, yada yada yada, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
The same
And
thing they
then
always
does a
say, to be
summoning
honest. Let's
spell,
be honest.
and all it looks like it was like a whole bunch of windows that you couldn't see through around this room. It's like a circle that they're in, right? And all it shows is Olivier's ready to fight, and he's like, no way you can fight this many, etc. And then Sid could honestly care less. All the Oliviers end up jumping out of the glass and like starting to attack, and then he pulls out the slime. Baldy's like, oh my god, there's no such thing as this anymore, it's like an ancient thing now. He's just flabbergasted again. And then they do a kind of like a snapshot of like his eyes closed, and then he explained that he can what was it? So he can use magic if it's stored and it's like a ball of energy. You can't use magic if it's not storage, since being they're closest to the center where magic is getting pulled in, essentially. I don't know how to explain that. Right. Like think
Yeah,
of it like a fan um pulling something in. Like they're pulling in little tiny pebbles. Okay, and the fan is strong enough to pull in little pebbles, but it isn't strong enough to pull a basketball in, or a soccer ball, for example, or a bowling ball, right? So essentially, it's just like what Sid did was like put that magic in, like store it in his eye, so it's like a solid, bigger form instead of it being like little particles. With that in mind, then Sid does his ultimate fucking magic spell, which is like the huge fucking bomb that destroys literally everything around it. So all we see is this huge purple light shoot out of the sky, and it's like massive. Like it goes on for a good couple of for
Miles.
diameter. Yeah, I wouldn't say mile. It's not long, but it's a super big circle, guys, right? And it's like miles long the same way. And where he was, it's a river, and all the water comes crashing out and then goes into the town and floods the town, clearly. And then it shows, what's it called? Then it shows that Sid um, is in a black room with the claw, but he doesn't really, like, it's just a quick scene of it. I don't know if you want to add anything about it on that scene. I didn't think too much of it.
No, I got nothing.
Okay. But then him and the witch are now outside, um, close to where he got teleported in, of where the explosion was. They're on the grass, and the witch, pardon me, is saying how grateful she is. Thank you so much, things like that, and then she starts to disappear. Right? Even though she never got her original memories. She's always thankful for him for the memories that they were able to create together.
Right.
Also in the forest close to Sid in that general area, Alexia, Rose, and Beta are all together, and they make an alliance together of how they should try to make the world a better place together, because they don't know if the knights are actually in the best interest of everyone, since all these organizations were funded by the knights, right? Like this huge, like, I don't know, this hidden lab that they found that Sid just blew up was funded by the knights. It was an undercover kind of thing. And then also they don't know if they could trust Shadow Garden. The spoiler alert, Beta is in Shadow Garden, so she's essentially planted into that to see what the two
That's
girls
why
would
her
do,
name is Beta. Why
right?
else would you have Alpha, Epsilon, Nu? They're all. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So they just essentially show the girls talking about how they're gonna try to do, from now on, no matter the differences, the hierarchy, poor, rich or poor or whatever, they will work together, get information, and go from there essentially. The town is restoring itself with the flood currently. And then it switched to Alpha and a couple other side shadow guarding girls talking, and they're on their way. And they're impressed of how Sid always handles the situation. Elsewhere, they have oh, what's that one's name? The clumsy one, or no? Oh, what's her name? What's
Delta?
her name? What's her
No,
name?
not Delta. Not
No,
Delta.
Gamma. Gamma, sorry.
Is it Gamma?
Gamma.
I thought her
Yeah,
name was.
Gamma.
Okay.
The one that's clumsy. So the clumsy one from Shadow Garden, aka Gamma. The one that is in charge of the hotel guys. So she is currently back in their hometown, right, where Sid was going to school in, and there was that original big explosion. And Gamma is buying land, or she's being offered to buy land since her hotel is doing so well, or not hotel, her
Shopping
mall, pardon
districts.
me, hotel.
D-
Yeah, her mall is doing so well where
Well,
they
more.
need
We do we
her to
do
be in
need
that
to
area.
mention again that it's more than one mall, and it's she's got these shopping centers in more than one city.
Yes, okay, correct. But it's just I just mentioned it for the city that they're currently in though. That's kind of why I was pointing at. But you were 100% correct,
Yeah,
if that's fair.
yeah, that's more than fair.
So, um the seller is trying to sell Gamma on possibly buying a piece of property to put a shopping district mall there to help increase the value of that area, and then so more people are willing to buy it, because currently it's just like destroyed. It's literally like a battlefield. um
Well, yeah, it's just like a huge
she
gaping
got
hole
one.
where Sid had
Yeah,
done the atomic bomb thing.
so there's lots of lots that haven't sold yet. And then they've been on the market for a while, and then that's why they're also asking Gamma to buy them, or buy one at least. Her Gamma's assistant comes up and says that there is a certain type of gas or like oil. I think it was oil, a certain type of
Petroleum.
oil, petroleum. Thank you. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jacob, why are you like that? Sorry. Chasing his tail. Sorry. Um, Gamma's assistant comes up in the meeting and then tells Gamma there is petroleum in that area and there's a lot of it. So then Gamma proceeds to buy all the whole area, the whole entire, like, it's literally like a like yeah, the whole thing, like all the lots. She buys everything that was destroyed, which is a massive amount of property. Obviously they don't say no to her, so she takes it. Meanwhile, Beta is still in her kinky outfit, and she's still in wolf mode where she's like wanting to like destroy everything. She's not actually in wolf mode, but like she's a human just with a tail and ears, but like she's just like destroy, destroy, destroy right now. They show the girls at the um hotel on the very top of where they're all staying, going back past memories of Alpha and how everything originally started, how all the girls have improved, things like that. Um, it switches. Oh, this is fun. It switches then to Alexia and what's her sister's name? Iris in I'd say the hot springs, or a sauna, sorry. They're in a sauna.
I thought I
Um,
was gonna say the hot springs too. I don't know why.
yeah. I don't know why.
I wonder why.
Brain just like so it then shows because Iris sent Alexia for the heroes matches, but not to do anything because of the murder. That's the whole reason why Alexia was down there. But Iris is like, you did more than should. You were a hostage. You were this. Like, what the hell were you doing? And then Alexia's like, oh, ha ha ha, and just tries to explain it. but then leaves awkwardly, and then all you hear before the scene switches over is the towel slap. Um, yeah. So there's that.
That's why I thought it
Elsewhere,
was the hot spring as well. That makes a
yeah,
whole lot of
yeah.
sense.
So they do the towel slap. Iris is a little confused about what happened with Alexia and that. Elsewhere, it shows Rose practicing in the park, forest, whatever you want to call it, with her sword. She is just fighting imaginary things and having flashbacks. Um, and then all of a sudden, on her chest, she has this red vein, like pulse from her, and it's just like it seems to like hurt her. She's like, "Ow!" Essentially, like where she stops.
That just makes it sound like you just going like she just looked down and went, "Ow."
Well, it was
Sorry.
essentially where it's like a huge oh, I don't know. It's like
I know.
something
No,
punched
no,
you in the
like I
face, guys. I know I explained it badly,
no,
but it was just
yeah.
like it's like a massive thing where it's like it was literally like a whole bunch of veins, like a big, massive, thick veins, in the middle of her chest, not boobs, just chest, like pop
Yeah,
up, and
definitely not the
then it's just
boobs.
essentially, or it's just like a concern.
Yeah.
Episode 15! Then it's bedtime!
You guess we're doing this at night? Wow. We kept up the illusion pretty well, but Snow shattered it just then.
Like
Yeah.
bedtime?
Episode 15, which is titled The Strongest Weakest Man.
You're
So
not
the
going to bed
Bushin
yet, Jacob.
Festival. So the Bushin Festival, or basically the Bushin, I'm gonna go ahead and be completely wrong here and say it's just a dueling festival. Um, it
Hey,
attra- it gets there. It
I think
attracts.
that's
Uh
it.
huh.
The dueling festival.
I no, because I think that's what it translates to.
Oh, I'll be
I
right back.
I might be wrong, but that's what that's what I think it translates to. Let's go ahead and. Whoop, nope, that's not it. Um. Anyways, the Bushin Festival gets there, and it starts to attract a lot of attention. So a huge crowd. So it's great for tourism, basically. Um. And Sid plans to astonish the crowd by disguising himself as a weak, super painfully weak person, but then completely decimating everybody. So that's his plan. At first, he thought he would join it just to be the fall guy again, so just be completely taken down on the first round. But the more he thinks about it, he thinks it might be best just to join and to win, basically. Um, so he goes to the shopping center to visit his friend, and using magical slime makeup, Gamma gives it the pathetic face of somebody named, and yes, this is his actual name, Mundane Man, an unskilled knight who died in poverty. Anne Rose, a foreign knight who fought at the goddess trial, and one of the ones that was able to summon one of the spirits to fight, witnesses the disguised Sid allowing himself to be beaten by a fighter named Quentin, and is amazed that Sid suffers no injuries. Sid then learns the favorites to win the festival are Iris, Rose, and Rose. Sorry, no, Iris, Rose, and Rose, Quentin, or a mysterious nameless Dark Knight. We don't know who that is. Um, and give me a sec. I will pause. I hear pup. I'm going. Rose encounters Sid and tells him that her dad has selected a man called, and again, the names are just perfect. So her dad informed her that he's chosen a suitor for her named Perv Asshat to become her fiance and force her to quit the sword. So from there, Sid advises that she do whatever makes her happy and try to relax for once, which is weird and completely out of character for him, I suppose. Um, but during the preliminary fights, Goldie, oh god, he has the dumbest name. Goldie Gilded, a skilled but annoyingly arrogant knight, advises Skell, who is betting on fights. Um, he advises how to identify warriors who will most likely win, but is disappointed when Sid, as the mundane guy, wins a fight without moving. Only Anrose notices that Monday moves so fast that he beat his opponent before the fight had even begun. Um, essentially, she saw him throw a punch, and then she corrects herself and saying that he threw not one punch but two punches straight to the guy's jaw, so uppercut twice, and that is how that's how Sid had won. Then from there, Goldie announces that Mundane's victory has made him Goldie's next opponent. The next morning, it is announced that Rose has disappeared after stabbing Perv, her new fiance. And that is where we leave off. We just see her running around in the catacombs, or not the catacombs, sorry, an underground city, which for some reason that city has so many underground passages and apparently another city underneath it. But we see her running through it, and that's where it leaves us off.
She's also fighting.
Um, I don't know about fighting. We did see
Well,
her
she's
like.
fighting guards that are chasing her.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Um, but yeah, for some reason she's running away. She's not actually explaining anything to anyone. She's not even talking to herself in her own head, which is new for an anime. Um, but yeah, she's running away after stabbing Perv, which, to be honest, they made it sound like she had killed him, but she had just stabbed him. Uh, and that's where we will leave off at episode 16.
Hmm.
So, thank you guys again for joining. That is going to wrap it up for us. You guys have a great day, night, morning, whatever it is that you guys are, whenever it is that you guys are listening to this. We will be back hopefully next week, hopefully sooner, so that we can finish this one off. Just because the next 5 episodes are absolutely amazing, and it sets up for hopefully the second season that we will be getting.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but this anime to me is really well done, especially the fighting and the art styles. It's really fun, really well done.
It
The
is.
names
It
are
really
just like
is.
cherry on top for everything. We've got Potato, we got Skeletal, Not Gonna Happen, Not This Time, and Pervass Hat, and Mundane Man. So we've got that to look forward to. Um, so yeah, follow us, subscribe, leave a like, comments. You get this episode is weird mainly because like I said earlier, I don't have my regular notes. Normally, I make an entire essay for one episode. This time, I try to condense it with as much as I could, and I left off a lot of stuff. I know. I'm sorry. I know Snow noticed it because she was telling me left, right, and center. But yeah,
Okay,
that's
but sorry, but like still at the same time they do need to know some of that.
well, I know, but like well, that's why I said it left a bunch of stuff out. Normally, I just write as much as I can down. This time, I
That's
wrote
fair.
as much of the quote unquote important information, and I left
That's
off
fair.
anything that wasn't or that I didn't think would be important. But hopefully, for next week, I'll be able to have my regular notes because I like doing
It'll
them.
be fine.
Well, I mean, I like doing the longer notes just because it explains a whole lot more. So,
That's fair.
but yeah, leave a comment. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what any anime recommendations that you might have. We will, or at least I will, watch them if I haven't watched them, and maybe we'll do episodes on those later. But as for now, I think we might have something lined up for the week after.
Yeah.
So, okay, sweet. So we do have something lined up for the week after. I still don't know what it is. I secretly do, but I'm not going to mention it. I will leave that for next week. But you guys have a great one. I've been Chester. This has been Snow. That has been Snow. She might be muted.
I'm not muted.
Okay, there she goes. You're not going to say goodnight or bye?
I said bye. I just don't think the mic picked it up.
It didn't. That's why I repeated like
Weird.
4 times.
My
But
bad.
yeah, no worries. Thank you for listening again. You guys have a good one. Good night.